What's going on, everyone? Hope you are having a wonderful day. This is the first time you're here. My name is Tyler. I make videos about college, career, and Andrew Yang. And today I'm going to be reacting to every single thing that Andrew Yang said at the 6th Democratic debate hosted by Politico. And just to put it out there, I have not watched a single thing on the debate, so this is going to be my first live raw reaction, and hopefully you guys find it entertaining. If you want to watch this exact video highlighting all of Andrew Yang's points, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description. It's a video created by the Zach and Matt Show, which makes a ton of different Andrew Yang media highlight reels. So with that said, let's get into it. Alright, here we go. And for the sake of time, I'm going to be watching this on 2x speed. I'm going to try to decide on how I'm going to edit it, but just to put it out there.
But Americans around the country are different. We blasted away 4 million manufacturing jobs that were primarily based in Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri. I just left Iowa. We blasted 40,000 manufacturing jobs there. The more we act like Donald Trump that caused all of our problems, the more Americans lose trust that we can actually see what's going on in our communities and solve those problems. What we have to do is we have to stop being obsessed over impeachment, which unfortunately tricks many Americans like a ball game where you know what the story is going to be, and start actually digging in and solving the problems that got Donald Trump elected in the first place. We have to take every opportunity to present a new positive vision for the country, a new way forward to help beat him in 2020, because make no mistake, he'll be there at the ballot box for us to defeat.
I'm going to pause it right there. Yeah, he brings up a really great point about impeachment. Now, I had a feeling, just because this is broadcasted by CNN, even though it's like, you know, hosted by Politico or whatever, that they were going to bring up Donald Trump's impeachment just because it is a pretty big deal. But yeah, I think Andrew Yang makes a really good point there. I don't know why everyone stresses about impeachment so much, just because since there would only be 1 year left in Donald Trump's presidency, and he's just going to end up running for office next election cycle anyway. So I don't get why the Democrats always stress Trump's impeachment hearings and everything so much. Yeah, I guess it's a good thing, but I think focusing more on the future and really how you're going to beat Trump or how you're going to do better for the people, that's like, I find that way more important than just talking about impeachment. But luckily they got out of the debate pretty quickly. I know Andrew Yang, he shares a lot of the same views as I do on impeachment. But yeah, and the earlier stuff, I've heard this spiel so many times already, so I'm not even gonna at this point it's kind of like Andrew Yang's own introduction. It's like, hi, my name's Andrew Yang, and hey, the reason why Donald Trump got elected is because we blasted away 4 million manufacturing jobs in blah 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 swing states. But alright, let's move on.
GDP and corporate profits are at record highs in America today. Also record highs, depression, financial insecurity, student loan debt, even suicides and drug overdoses. It has gotten so bad that our life expectancy as a country has declined for the last 3 years because suicides and drug overdoses have overtaken vehicle deaths for the first time in American history. The fact is that the unemployment rate and GDP have very little relationship with people's experience on the ground. If you are a recent college graduate, you have a 40% chance of doing a job that doesn't require a college degree. That doesn't show up in the headline unemployment rate, nor does all of the families that work in 2 or 3 jobs to get by.
I think he brings up a really good point there. I mean, I'm lucky enough to attend a very decent school, and because of that, I don't really have to worry about finding an internship or getting a job afterwards, just because I already have an internship lined up due to the network opportunity here. But for people just going to random colleges, right, like Robert Morris University or some, not to throw shade at that, but like DeVry or something, I just think it's such a waste of money, and especially on top of what you end up majoring in. Not to even mention what you're even gonna major in. So he brings up a good point there, and the fact that GDP is rising, but I think many people can agree with this. People are just less happy overall. And going back to the idea where he said, I shouldn't have had sparkling water, I'm sorry. But going back to his point about people working multiple jobs, people don't consider the fact that so many people have multiple jobs, and it's because us younger generation people, we don't think we have to worry about that, just because by default we're going to college and everything. But like Andrew Yang said, 40% of college students aren't gonna be attaining a college level job. They're gonna be either waiting tables in an intermediary period or whatever it may be. So this is just something you have to consider. But yeah, moving on.
Senator Klobuchar, now I'd like to bring Senator Yang, Mr. Tyler.
Yeah, well,
Mr. Yang, what's the on the issue of nuclear energy? Well, first, we should obviously be paying to relocate Americans away from places that are hit by climate change. We're already doing it. We relocated a town in Louisiana that became uninhabitable because the sea level rose. And we know that town's not alone. That's playing out in coastal areas around the country. The question is, you leave that town on its own, fend for itself, or you come together as a country and say, we need to protect our people from climate change. Part of my plan is really called Move People to Higher Ground, because that's what we need to do. And that's literal and figurative. Here in California, it's forest fires and forest management. Nuclear power, I agree with the research. We need to have everything on the table in a crisis situation, which this is. Other countries have had success with nuclear power, and the next generation thorium reactors have a wealth of potential. Thorium is not radioactive the way uranium is. It doesn't last as long, and you can't make a weapon out of it. We're going to innovate our way out of this. As Elizabeth is saying, then we have to have nuclear on the table.
Yeah, I remember, like, this was like a couple months ago, but Andrew Yang mentioned something about like thorium reactors in particular, and nuclear energy, and how it's literally much more cleaner than using uranium. And the only reason why it's not being implemented is because of like lobbyists and kind of like pretty corrupt influences going on in the back end. And Andrew Yang being able to bring that to light, of course, I don't know if any of the other candidates brought it up, but I think that's a really great point, and especially because I think with climate change we're so far behind that I think everything needs to be on the table, and really I don't think thorium should be that bad. From what I've heard, I'm not a nuclear scientist or anything, but just from the brief stuff that I've heard about it, it seems like a pretty decent idea. They should roll out more information on it.
What message do you think we send to voters of color?
It's both an honor and disappointment to be the lone candidate of color on the stage tonight. I miss Kamala, Miss Morial, and will be back.
I find it funny that like Andrew Yang and Cory Booker kind of had like a bromance going on, even though like I know a couple months ago you see Cory Booker came across as kind of like a douchebag, but apparently they're on good terms. So.
There's not immigrants, and I had many racial epithets used against me as a kid. But Black and Latinos have something much more powerful working against them than words. They have numbers. The average net worth of Black households is only 10% that are white households, while Latinos is 12%. If you're a Black woman, you're 320% more likely to die from complications in childbirth. These are the numbers that define race in our country. And the question is, why am I the lone candidate of color on this stage? Fewer than 5% of Americans don't need political campaigns. You know what we need? Don't need political campaigns? Disposable income. When we fix this, as we speak, Martin Luther King's message of a guaranteed minimum income, a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month for all Americans, I guarantee if we had freedom dividend of $1,000 a month, I would not be the only candidate of color on the stage tonight.
Mr. Yang, then
Andrew Yang's getting pretty good at this. He found a way to bring up his freedom dividend when the question was geared towards more about race and the underprivileged. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. And if I was living paycheck to paycheck, how are you gonna find the money to actually donate to a candidate, especially when it's not even like guaranteed that candidate would do anything in the first place or can even get elected in the first place. So the fact that Andrew Yang has so much support, all from these grassroots methods, it really speaks to how different this guy really is and how much faith people have in him, just because he's so solid in his ideas. Like, yeah, I don't need to explain this because you guys already probably know if you're watching this video, but like, yeah, wow.
I have family in Hong Kong. I spent 4 months there and seeing what's happening on the streets. It's shocking. They banned face masks in Hong Kong. Why? Because they have AI technology that knows using facial recognition to identify protesters if they so much as do anything on the street, so they can follow up with them and detain them later. This is the rivalry that we have to win. We're trying to concerned. They're in the process of leapfrogging us in AI because they have more data than we do, and the government is subsidizing it to the tune of tens of billions of dollars. I have sat with our leading technologists, and they say they cannot match the Chinese resources. China has produced its first major smartphone that does not have Google apps, and it is now trying to export its technology to the rest of the world. What we have to do is build an international coalition to set technology standards, and then we can bring Chinese to the table in a very real way, because this is their top priority, and this is where we need to outcompete them and win.
Senator Klobuchar.
Yeah, I knew there was gonna be a China question, but on the topic of how China's innovations and technologies are superseding that of the U.S. Yeah, actually, I was looking, my iPhone like broke a couple months ago, and I was looking for a replacement pair, and I was heavily considering getting a Huawei. Like, if you don't know, Huawei is a Chinese brand of like phones or of technology, like of electronics, and yeah, I forgot what it's called, like the P30, P80, something like that, but Huawei's flagship phone looks completely sick. It looks amazing. It looks awesome. And there's like this really cool functionality where you can zoom like a ridiculous amount. And yeah, I mean, I gotta say, just judging by the consumer electronics alone, China's definitely making some moves, and if the US really needs to step up if they really want to like be competitive, and this is just considering like consumer electronics. Like you can't even imagine, let's say, like what's going on in the back end in terms of like cyber, like defense, technological related like defense stuff, like, you know, like what they mentioned, AI face recognition. Another thing would be like deep fakes. That's like a big thing, and just all this technology that can be pretty impactful. And I don't know, it's kind of scary, but and also I'm not really surprised, just because, yeah, I mean, China puts in work, and just they put in work like we don't. So yeah, I mean, Yang brings up another good point. I kind of wish I could get to hear a little bit about what the other candidates have to say, but maybe I'll make a reaction video on like the highlights overall. But I feel like it's just gonna be a bunch of bickering about like Pete Buttigieg, just because he's like rising on the polls or whatever.
I'm going to turn now to an issue that's been in the headlines quite a bit, and that is immigration. Mr. Yang, we have a question here from a professor right here at Loyola Marymount. There are nearly 200,000 DACA recipients, so-called dreamers, in the state of California, more than any other state, including federal students right here at LMU. If you win and you reinstate DACA through executive action, another president could just overturn it again. So will you move on a permanent legislative fix for dreamers in your first 100 days of elected?
Of course I would. I'm the son of immigrants myself, and I know that dreamers are essentially Americans and everything but this legal classification. I just want to return to this conversation because I think at the core, our country is deeply misogynist, and most all of us know that. Money and men are tied together. That's why I thought Elizabeth was taking conversation. The fact is, strong societies will elect more female leaders. Strong men treat women well for the same reasons. I'm on the record saying that we need both strong men and female leaders in government, because the fact is, if you get too many men alone and leave us alone for a while, we kind of become morons. So it's related to our campaign finance rules, because right now the fact is we operate in a fundamentally anti-women marketplace, and that includes the marketplace for politicians. If you were to put $100 democracy dollars into the hands of every American voter instead of 5% contributing, you see that rate skyrocket to 50 or 60%, and you have many, many more women who would run for office because they don't have to go chase the money tree in the wine cave.
David, I do need to follow up this.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. I lied a little bit. I read something about Pete Buttigieg holding like what do you call it, like a fundraising event in a wine cave, and Andrew Yang throwing shade right there at Pete Buttigieg in a very tasteful manner. I like that. That was good. That was good. Oh, just one sec. Man, he's getting 14 minutes. He got 14 minutes to speak compared to last debate where he got 7. This is double the amount. That's what I'm talking about.
Again, Mr. Yang, what about dream relations reform? You move on a permanent legislative fix in your first 100 days. Dreamers say that they are frustrated. The Democrats' failure to prioritize theirs has in deal after deal. So why should dreamers trust Democrats now?
I believe everyone on this stage would do the right thing by dreamers in the first 100 days. I believe the top priority. I'm the son of immigrants myself. The fact is, almost half the Fortune 500 companies were started by immigrants or children of immigrants. Immigrants make our country stronger and more dynamic. And immigrants are being scapegoated for issues they have absolutely nothing to do with. If you go to the factory in Michigan, it's not wall-to-wall immigrants, it's wall-to-wall robot arms and machines. We have to send the opposite message of this administration. And as your president, I think I can send a very clear message where if you were considering immigrating to this country, and I'm the president, you would realize my son and daughter can become president of the United States. That's the opposite of current administration, and that's the message I would love to send to the world.
Thank you, Mr. Yang. Senator Sanders.
You know, I have to say, like, before Andrew Yang, I would have never thought there would be an Asian American president. Like, it just didn't even cross my mind. Like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But I mean, Andrew Yang would be the perfect one to do it, just because he has so much data and so much stuff to back up his points. And man, I can't. It's gonna be wild in a year looking back to this, regardless of whether Andrew Yang becomes like the Democratic candidate or not, or the president or not. Yeah, this is a wild time we're living in, y'all. End of the 2020, end of the decade, heading into 2020. Man, I can't wait to see what happens.
We didn't hear a specific answer from Mr. Shire. Can you outline specific steps the government should take to help integrate these young people into the workforce, into their local community?
I would love it. I have a son with special needs. And to me, special needs is the new normal in this country. How many of you all have a family member or friend or neighbor with special needs or autism? If you look around, most hands went up. The fact is, right now, we have to do more for Kyle. Special needs children are going to become special needs adults in many cases. And here's the challenge. You go to employers and say, hey, this special needs person can be a contributor in your workplace, which may be correct. But that's not the point. We have to stop computing economic value and human value. You have to be able to say to our kids, hey, Kyle, you have inherent value because you're American and you're a human being. We're going to put a freedom dividend of $1,000 a month in everyone's hands. It's just going to help families around the country adapt. And then we're going to take this burden off of the communities and off of the schools who do not have the resources to support kids like my son and make it a federal priority, not a local one. So how robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, that's something that like we don't. I think that's something that the general population doesn't consider enough, right? Like, how can the lives of special needs people be better, right? Like, because we're in this statistically speaking, we're in this rat race where, you know, you find a good job and then you just like do your job and you're supposed to feel fulfilled or anything. But moving beyond that is really something that it's really against the grain according to society. But I think with people like Andrew Yang preaching this humanity first concept, there's so much more money than just GDP. And I know it's kind of counterintuitive to what we said earlier about China and how we have to make strides in innovation to keep up. And really, this is just a giant competition on who can create the most technological advancements. But at the same time, it's like, you know, no one wants to work a 9 to 5 every single day. I mean, I can't say no one, but like, not everyone wants to do that, right? And having the option to just find a way to enjoy life more, I think that's something that's very important.
In the spirit of the season, I'd love to ask each one of you, is there someone else among these candidates that you have two options? One, a candidate from whom you would ask forgiveness for something maybe that was said tonight or another time, or a candidate to whom you would like to give a gift. And I'm going to start with you, Mr. Yang.
Wow.
We can do a labor action and just talk about strike on this way, Andrew.
I don't think I have much to ask forgiveness for. You all can touch me on this. In terms of gifts, Elizabeth has done me the honor of starting to read my book. I would love to give each of you a copy of my book. It's about how we're going through the greatest economic transformation in our country's history, the fourth industrial revolution. It is grinding up our communities, and DC is out to lunch on this. Our media organizations are not covering it adequately. I wrote a book on it, and if you like data, this book is for you. This goes to people at home too, if you like data and books.
Hey, that's one way to plug your book. I mean, yeah, I know comment. I don't know.
I know what you're thinking, America.
And now it's time for closing statements. Ms. Yang.
I know what you're thinking, America. How am I still on the stage with them? Our campaign is growing all the time because we're laser focused on solving real problems that got Donald Trump elected in the first place. I spent 7 years helping create thousands of jobs in Detroit, Baltimore, New Orleans, and other cities, serving as an ambassador of entrepreneurship under President Obama. And I saw firsthand what many of you already know. Our country is falling apart. Our senior citizens are working until the day they die. Our kids are addicted to smartphones or drugs. We're seeing record high levels of depression, suicides, overdoses. Our companies are recording record profits while people are literally dying younger. Our way of life is changing faster than ever, and the simple fact is this. Our politicians in DC succeed, whether we the people succeed or fail. Washington, D.C. today is the richest city in our country. What do they produce? Bad decisions? We need to get the money out of D.C. into your hands, the hands of the American people. Join us at gang2020.com and help us rewrite the rules of the 20th century economy to work for us.
Thank you, Senator.
So that was the debate. Overall, I think he did a good job. Was there more stuff that he could have touched upon? I can't really think of any off the top of my head. Maybe if there was a question in regards to automation, that would have been ideal, just because that is a looming threat. But other than that, yeah, I think Andrew Yang did a really good job. He brought up in his closing statement the misalignment between politicians in the White House and the rest of the U.S. And I think that's a very entrepreneur thing, or a very like business kind of mentality, right? To make sure that there is mutual alignment with benefits and setbacks. So like, you know, if the rest of the U.S. does well, then the president does well, and vice versa. There's not enough alignment there, is basically what he was saying at the end, I think. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was a pretty good debate. He got definitely a lot more speaking time, double the amount than he did last month. But yeah, I'm not disappointed, but you know, I'm not like an expert at this. I thought he did a pretty good job, but to be honest, I can't really think of anything that was too noteworthy. But maybe that's just because I've been a fan of Andrew Yang for so long, like 6 months. But I'm excited to get to the polls. I just want to see what's up. I just want to see the reactions from other people and how much his campaign's gonna grow from this. I'm not saying I'm done hearing him speak, but I think I've just about heard it all. And after a while, and this is just a critique I have, but when a candidate's so data focused, so data driven, and not as much emotionally fulfilling, right? It's not like calling on my pathos, right? On my emotions or anything. It gets boring after a while. I have to say that, you know. I like seeing Andrew Yang speak just because I want his message to go out there, but at the same time, I can see I can see how voters might get fatigued. And maybe it's because I've never been to a live event and I've never hung around with like other members of the Yang Gang or anything except for like my own little like friend group. But yeah, it's just something, it's just a little bit of how I'm feeling right now. But that's besides the point. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a good time reacting to this stuff, and let me know if you want to see more reaction type videos such as this one. Just because for me, I personally enjoy it more than like my like long form critique videos or whatever, or not critique videos, but my long form like conversations and everything. But anyways, with that said, please leave a like down below to support the channel. Leave a comment if you wanna help me get into the algorithm. I'm just gonna be straight honest. If you leave a comment and you leave a like, it's gonna really help me out, and I'm getting these videos to a bunch of different people. Please click subscribe if you want to see more videos about college, career, and Andrew Yang. And with that said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.